Hi there everybody, this is Silver at Egg Feathers Homestead. Today we are making Boston baked beans. It is from the Ball Blue Book of Canning. I hope you enjoy very much and let's get started. I'm going to put together our liquid for the baked beans. So the original recipe in the Ball Book, you're like supposed to boil these beans and bake them for hours until they're pretty much mush and then can them. And to me that just sounds gross. So what we're going to do instead is I'm going to put my cold soaked overnight beans into a jar. I've got navy beans. And then I am going to pour this baked bean liquid over them in the jar and can it that way because I think the result will be better. I was watching Ginny Goff doing pretty much the same thing. I definitely prefer the texture of beans when they're canned, soaked but not cooked. This just looks really yuck by the time you get done. No offense to Ball, I'm sure it's delicious, but you're gonna have like bean mush, and I don't want bean mush, I want baked beans. It was kind of a guessing game on liquid because you're supposed to cook the beans in liquid. So I took Ginny's recommendation. I'm going to do 5 cups of water per times liquid that I'm doing. I'm doing a 3 times liquid batch because even if I don't use all my beans, I can still put the liquid away and have it for another batch. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'll be adding 15 cups of water in just a minute. I need, this is a very sweet bean recipe, but you know, baked beans are sweet. I've got 2 cups of brown sugar. Again, this is a triple batch. So you would have 2/3 of a cup if you were just doing one batch. And then I have 2 cups of molasses and, you know, big family. Plus bakery, of course I have a gallon jug of molasses. We really love chewy molasses cookies around here. And Mr. Magnus is trying to hand me a measuring spoon. He is not listening to Mommy tonight. I told him to go play and he's decided that's not what he wants to do. He wants to help me film. So here we are. All right, so there's 2 cups of molasses. And again, I know this is a lot of sugar, but keep in mind this is some going into each jar for the beans. I'm actually going to set that right there and come back with a spatula in a minute. And then I need, so that would again be 2/3 of a cup of molasses. I am doing 6 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons of mustard. So this is a 2 tablespoon measure right here. So dry mustard. Classic is Coleman's. I get this from our local farm store. Same difference. It'll be just fine. And then I am also doing 6 teaspoons of salt, which would, of course, be 2 tablespoons. Now, right now, and we're also going to be adding salt pork, so that will add another sodium element to this. I'm going to add my 15 cups of water, and I'm going to bring this to a boil. It's supposed to boil for a little bit. I think Ginny did hers at 10 minutes. Again, it's hard. I'm glad she interpreted this a different way because I don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I'm going to go ahead and do what she suggested and boil it for 10 minutes while I get my onions and salt pork cut up for this. So I will bring you back once we have that done. I'm really excited about this. We love baked beans. And you may think, Silver, how is this a meal? Well, you can do beanie weenies, or you can serve this with a meal, or this can be a meal by itself. I know my daughter Elizabeth will eat this as a meal. And you keep seeing me push away little hands because the little guy is just having so much fun. Anyway, I will bring you back. Okay, here we go. First thing I'm actually going to add is I've got 2 large chopped onions. The recipe calls for 3. That's a lot of onions. I just don't want that many. So I have 2 large chopped onions and I'm going to put them in the bottom of the jar. And my reasoning for that is I'm going to be putting salt pork in these and I want to be able to easily fish it out because this particular batch that I got is like super fatty. And I know that my family is not going to want to be eating no super fatty salt pork. So I want to have it up at the top of the beans so that it's much easier to fish out. Man, it smells so good. There's something about the smell of raw onions. They're just such a nice flavor and smell. I can't eat them raw because my body rebels against that, but I love the smell of them and I love the taste of them raw, but I just can't. I'll have onion breath for a good solid 2 days if I do. It's just not fun. I'd say that was about 1/3 of a cup of onion per jar. Now I'm going to add my beans. I'm going to fill this up probably about halfway. We'll see how they all come out when it's said and done here. We love baked beans in our house. I have tons of northern beans and navy beans downstairs. Also really love navy bean soup with the ham and little carrot chunks. That's definitely on my to-do list. We really enjoy having soups in a jar around here and stews and stuff. It just makes mealtime so much easier. We're a pretty busy household. I don't know how people do it. We homeschool, and I think of how busy we are. And I have friends who public school. Really, most of my friends public school, and they're so busy. I don't know how they do it. Like seriously, people are working. They gotta come home. There's homework to do and school activities and stuff. And man, I tell you what, props to them. Wow, I think of how busy we are, and I imagine that being amplified with lots of sports and activities. It just makes me tired even thinking about it. I know my one friend, their family is a big time baseball family, and when it's baseball season, they're at a lot of games. You know, you do what you absolutely love as a family, and that's their passion, and I think that's awesome. So she cans a whole lot. I think way more than me. I'm relatively new to this whole pressure canning scene, but I tell you what, I've taken to it like a duck to water. I really love it. Anyway, it's just nice to have things in a jar. It's nice to know how to do that. All right, got all of our beans, and it actually turned out really nice. Now I'm gonna add my salt pork. The recipe says ½ pound, so this is a 12-ounce package, which is a little bit more than ½ pound, but not tremendously so. I think that we'll be all right. I may not add all of this though. Like I said, a lot of it is really fatty. Like even for salt pork, it's fatty. So we shall see what we get here. And like I said, I've got it in the top, so it'll be relatively easy to fish out. I mean, even when you buy the cans of it, it's up there at the top. So I'll go ahead and finish packing some in these jars here. Now I'll go ahead and add all of it. I don't want to be wasteful. It adds a nice saltiness. Yeah, I see why you don't add a lot of salt to the broth, because I tell you what, if you've never had salt pork, like it says salt pork for a reason. Even when I'm handling it here, I can feel that salt on it. All right, so there's that. And then all that's left is our beautiful molasses syrup here. So good. I mean, look at that. Just already, you can see how beautiful that is, and it hasn't even cooked yet. And I'm going to pause this and go wash my hands. I'll be right back. All right, we're at a little bit different angle here. It was a little shaky and jiggly there. So, as usual, we want to very much debubble. We are looking for that inch ahead space. And once I get these all filled up, they're going to go in canner for 90 minutes because we are dealing with beans, and also there's meat in here. These are quart jars, so can these for 90 minutes. For my elevation, it is 10 pounds PSI. Depending on your elevation, adjust accordingly. And then we will have 7 delicious jars of convenience food. They can either be served as is or part of a meal. And honestly, this is a very small batch. I'm going to be making a whole bunch more because we typically go through 2 jars at a time. Like I said, my daughter Elizabeth just absolutely adores baked beans. So I'm going to finish filling these up, pop them in the canner. When they're all done, I will show you the result. This is my favorite part. Look at that. Beautiful. Geez, don't need to go breaking the jar. Beautiful baked beans for the larder. Oh man, there was a little bit of film in there. I'm not surprised. That was a lot of salt pork. But look at that. Those are so beautiful. Here's another. Just coming out of the canner. Aren't those beautiful? I do hope you give this a try. Beautiful baked beans with lovely molasses, brown sugar sauce, salt pork, and onions. All the delicious flavors that remind us that summer is coming soon. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic night.